what we wanted to do is we know it's sort of a time of year where everyone's a bit kind of crazy busy, and it's what sort of happens. We see a lot of people is it's crazy busy right till the end. You get to the end of the year, and it's that kind of like moment, and then you kind of take a break and you go, I'm not looking at anything for work, and then you kind of come back in on the new year, and it all just kicks off and starts again, and you kind of feel like you're chasing your tail, getting back into it, trying to pull the leads into the pipeline and whatnot. We've done a few of these kind of getting new leads, getting good quality leads, sales processes, kind of a style calls, but we haven't really in the past deep dived onto some of the complexities and the more tactical stuff, Cameron, if I'm right in saying that.
Yeah, for sure.
So Cameron and I had a chat probably a couple of months ago, mate, and yeah, we just kind of said, look, I think this would be something our audience would really be interested in. So yeah, Cameron, do you just want to introduce yourself and what you do and how you do it, who
Yeah,
you work
man.
with, etc.?
Sounds good. Sounds good. Happy to be here. So, I run a marketing agency specifically for builders, which means that we just do everything completely hands off. I spent 6 years before that coaching builders how to do marketing, and the biggest objection we got was, "This is great, Cam. I love it, but I don't have the time to do it." And so, ultimately, just about taking that off people's plates. But we've got a big system and everything for that, and so now it's looking at how can we help guys kind of get to the point of handing it off and filling the gap in between of like let's just give people all the things that they need to get some quick wins on the board and get into the marketing space because yeah, hell of a lot of misconception around all the moving parts and what's included. So yeah, happy to kind of share what's working.
Yeah, and I think we've spoken before is that, what I often see with builders is you sort of look at because most of our clients are small to medium residential
Yep.
builders. So more often than not, it's you know kind of one or two people in the business, husband, wife, team, family business, that kind of thing.
Yep.
And we tend to see that when people are, how do you promote your business? How do you market your business? A lot of the time, it's we're family run. We get you. We're small, personal. We're not one of those big. And that's kind of what a lot of people push out, which then means you just
Yep.
get you know lost in the what's the word I'm looking for? Needle in a haystack, whatever the saying is you want.
Yeah, one of
Is
many rather than being unique, eh?
one of many. Yeah, exactly. And it's something that I do find as well with kind of like the growth of social media with different platforms, TikTok, and then you've got LinkedIn, you've got all these other things. Like, where do people actually invest money in? Like, where does that where are your leads sitting? And that obviously depends on who you're targeting. If you're targeting, really really high end homes, I'm guessing that's probably not a TikTok marketing strategy you want to be going after. So kind of
Yeah.
I think it'd be really good, we can kind of dive into some of those areas about you know what people should be doing. But yeah, guys, just one thing I always want to say, and I try and say this on these webinars as much as possible, try and work with people that really get builders. And because what we often see is that, and no disrespect to people that don't specialize, but when you don't specialize, what happens is it's a real lack of depth in terms of how you can go. I've said this before. I used to work at MYOB and looking after bookkeepers and accountants. So one of the things that I was always pushing is try and specialize as much as you possibly can, whether that's trades, construction, manufacturing, retail, whatever it is, because the level of knowledge you get when you specialize is way more because you hear different problems, different solutions from all your clients around you, but then also you're able to focus in on learning all the complexities that happen in that industry. Same thing with marketing, same thing with accounting, bookkeeping. And this is kind of why we try and bring in people on these sessions that really specialize and get the particular person because someone looking after a hospitality client that is all about like constant transactions coming in and speed and efficiency inside your business is very, very different from someone that is looking after a client that has five, six, $700,000 invoices and above potentially. So the real different things you face with, and sometimes I think sometimes people give in the search of trying to just get as many clients as possible, they
Mm.
just go way too broad, way too jack of all trades kind of thing. So that's the reason why we've got people like Cam in, just because he gets that industry. So hopefully, even if you guys don't end up working with Cam and stuff, hopefully we can share some really good good knowledge from him through the session. But I'll let you take it away, mate, because I've rambled on enough now.
No, it's all good, man. Appreciate the intro. So yeah, 100%. No pitch, no nothing from this. This is ultimately me just wanting to kind of help guys out and get into a much better position for next year, because this year's been hard for a lot of guys, especially with interest rates going up. There's been contracts that have been, signed, sealed, ready to go that have pulled out and left people in the lurch. And so what we want to do is try and make sure that you have more of a pipeline ahead of you coming into next year and onwards, and so that you don't ever have to fall into that position again. Okay. And so with that said, there was a really interesting stat as part of a survey that I just had to give some commentary on, that correlated really directly with those who are investing more in marketing, approximately 2 to 4% of revenue, consistently achieve higher gross markups compared to those spending less on marketing. Okay. And so really interesting correlation between that. But the one that really stood out to me was the conversation that I have every day as well, is 31.6% of builders still aren't advertising at all, and ultimately relying on word of mouth and referrals, which is great. Okay. But you wouldn't build your business on a one-legged stool. Okay. And so you've got one traffic source that you're relying on, which is referrals. Well done. You're getting good people come back. But when that stops working, then what else have you got? Okay, so it's just a matter of having a few feelers out there, a few different platforms. We'll cover off all of those today so that you can see ultimately what the different ones are and where to start and everything like that. But without further ado, let me go in here, grab the share screen button. I will go to here and bring up my slides. Let me know if you can see this one when it loads up, Julian.
Yeah, it's coming up now, mate. Just to add to Cameron, what you're saying there is that, referrals are great, but if you're not getting the customers that you want, referrals are actually probably bad
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you're kind of staying in. Most people tend to, operate in the same level of class, society, whatever, that friendship group. So if you've got someone that's doing all new homes and you want to actually get clients that are doing more sort of higher end homes, generally those people are more likely to probably be looking at the same sort of friendship groups, I would imagine.
yeah.
Um, so that not always referrals are great. Like I've got a friend who's a plumber, and the referrals that he gets are not good because they're real cheap people. And he's like, I don't want to work with these people anymore. Stop passing on my number. So
Yeah.
sorry to cut you off, but I just wanted to add that in.
No, no, definitely, man, definitely. So you want to cast the net wide. If you have more options coming in, you can always say no to all of them, apart from the ones that you want to work with. But without having those options there, it's really, really hard to kind of do that. And so what we want to do from here is ultimately open up that pipeline for you. And so just a bit about me, partnered with APB and a few of the other coaching programs as far as just working with builders. That's all I do. We only work with builders who do custom homes, additions, whole home renovations, kitchens and bathrooms. Okay, so allows us to be really good at what we do, allows us to get some really valuable data on what's working and what's not. Okay, because like Julian mentioned earlier, there is a lot of marketing agencies out there and they may do a good job. Okay, but the thing is that they're used to working on a dentist's campaign. They're used to getting 80 leads a month. What you'll see in this next piece is we're going to go through an exercise about setting the goals and understanding what you need to hit. The whole thing is not about getting volume, it's about getting quality. It's about getting in front of the right type of people rather than getting in front of a ton of people, okay? So what we're going to cover today, ultimately setting some clear goals, right? This whole thing doesn't work unless you understand where you're trying to go, okay? So this is really different for everybody, and that's the reason why we go through this exercise is, you might want to keep things the way they are as far as your company size, but you might want to try and get more people in to increase your profit margins, okay? Or you might be looking to scale to the next level. Maybe you're at 1.5 going to 3, maybe you're at 3 going to 5, whatever it is. This is going to give you the understanding of what you need to hit and where you need to go. It's also going to highlight probably where you're falling short. And so this whole thing is around numbers. You don't need to ultimately, think about it. It's going to be very clear as to what you need to be hitting. So the next thing here is about identifying ideal clients, and you might think you know that, but I'll show you really, really clearly why you don't have enough information on this. And it's one of the baselines here that you need to know in order to do any effective advertising. Okay. Next thing around crafting your message, what makes you guys special, different, unique, that kind of thing. And most guys are thinking, I'm a builder, I do this, I'm not different, I'm not unique, right? There's many stories out there about people who have entered different markets and done different things. Ultimately, yes, you may be similar to everyone else, but let's really chime in on the stuff that you do slightly different, or even just talk about the same stuff that you do for normal clients that people will find special. Okay, so it's about actually telling people why you're different and unique. Okay, next one, choosing your marketing channels. So big question I get all the time is like, where do I start? Okay, so there's SEO, there's Google Ads, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's all these other ways that you can market. And ultimately, where do we start? So flowing on from these last couple of things, that'll give us the exact place that you need to start. And then after that, we're going to actually go through and create an ad for you. Okay, and so that you actually have something that the platform you need to hit. We'll write some ad copy specifically for that so you can go in and make it happen. I'm the same as everybody else, writer's block. I'm not a natural writer. Ultimately, writing an ad is an art form, but it's a science that we can kind of distill into some steps here. And so we can help you kind of craft that message. And all you need to do then is copy and paste it into the platform. And then lastly, we can tie that all up into a bit of an action plan. So the idea here, guys, is not that you tune into another webinar and just kind of go, oh, that was interesting. The idea here is that you tune in, listen to it, take some notes, get interactive if you can. And if you can't, then come back afterwards and watch the replay and do it all again. So on that note, we put a bunch of resources together for you. So this is, again, not just sort of theoretical stuff and pretty brochures. We've got some stuff here that's actually going to do the work for you, which is really, really important, and it's going to save a lot of time. So anything that you need, guys, contractorscale.com/buildxact, BUILDXACT. Okay, that'll take you through to the page with all of the resources that myself and Julian discussed earlier and have put together for you for this workshop. And there'll be a couple more that go live after this as well that'll add on to that page. So whether you're tuning in now or later, this page will be up, and so you can go through and grab those resources, which will look something like this. So we've got a few different things that we can share with you. We're going to go through each one, and we've got a lot of examples and stuff in here. And if you stay till the end, I'll let you guys take a look at the 7-figure ad copy that we've been running for multiple years. Okay, so for those that are tuning in live, chuck in the chat box, chuck a 1 in there if you think it'll be helpful just to swipe and deploy the ad that's been working for us for years, okay? And if you don't chuck it in, then I won't share it with you. So come on, got to pump up the the interaction a little bit here. I want to make sure that we actually got some people that are tuning in. Awesome, awesome. Got some 1s coming in. That's great. Thanks, guys. Make me feel good. Alrighty, so 30,000 foot view. Always like to tie this back to the plan, right? The map, the whatever you want to call it. So there is ultimately, this is everything you need to do in your marketing to run this effectively, okay? Lots of bits and pieces in here. It's about tying them all together, especially in the construction space, because like I say, dentist or bakery or any other kind of business, you can run some ads on one platform, get results coming through, and someone comes in, they give you the credit card and it's all done. For what you guys do, you need to have multiple feelers out, because this is not just a credit card purchase. This is something that people need to come through and find you. Then they do some more research on you. Maybe they come back and find you another way, but they're always looking at multiple pieces of your entire marketing, because this is a long sales process and a long decision-making process, right? For a lot of people, it's the biggest decision of their life, doing a large renovation or building a new home. And so what you want to do is have all of these pieces work together. And what we'll just jump into after this, and as we go through it, you don't need to do all of these pieces right now, okay? This is where you need to get to, and this is about having all of those pieces in place. But we're going to identify what bit is going to be most relevant for you, so you can just tick that box. And once you've got that one, you can start looking at the next one, okay? So in here, we've got Google Ads, we've got social media, we've got referrals, we've got SEO, we've got all of these things in here, and we'll break them down in a bit more details. So into the first piece here is around setting clear goals, right? So what does that look like? Ultimately, what we want to figure out here is a couple of things, and we'll jump in and we'll do a live example. Depending if we want to bring someone on live here, Julian, or not, just let me know if that's easy to do, or if anyone wants to volunteer, chuck their name in the box. Maybe for this one, we can skim through it, but if we can get some interaction, that'd be cool. But what we want to do here is ultimately figure out where you're at now, where you're looking to go. Okay, so we know what the goal is and where you're trying to head to. So if we just run through this really, really quickly, again, go back to contractorscale.com/buildxact. You'll have this exact spreadsheet there that you can copy and paste and do what you like with it. But this is an example of something I ran through with another guy just the other day, okay? And so if there's no volunteers in the chat, then maybe Julian, you can entertain me here and you can pretend to be my guy. All
Yeah.
right.
Does anyone want to jump in and we do this with you?
Feel free to chuck a message in the chat. If not, that's
We
cool because I
can.
understand that this is a sort of like a numbers-based thing or a financial-based thing. Otherwise, we can run with hypotheticals because we can bunch people into different circumstances, which is cool. Cool. That's fine. So what we're looking at here is really looking at a couple of things. At the top here, figuring out where you're at now, where you're looking to get to. Okay, so that's the goal. Very clear, round numbers, back in napkin math. This is not a confusing piece that we need to cover off in depth. But you just need to get clear on where you're trying to go. Now, the reason we do that is because you'll see that first gray line in there is going to be number of qualified leads that you require annually. Okay, so that's where we need to get to for our marketing to understand what we need to implement next. And so, for example, we were working with a guy in Brisbane. He's a kitchen builder. They were doing 20 kitchens a month. So that meant that they need to get about 100 leads a month in order to hit that goal. Likewise, we work with custom home builders across the States and Australia, New Zealand, wherever. They only need 3 projects a year to hit that same turnover goal that they're trying to hit. So everything that we go through here means that the strategy comes off the back end is going to be based on your needs and everything that you are trying to hit. Okay. So just based off this example here, what we got is someone's at 1.5 million. They're looking to grow and take it to 3. So looking to double the business, okay, which is a pretty common thing that we get as people coming through. They're obviously looking to grow. Now, one of the big things here, the next line down is your average dollar sale. So thinking about this one here, again, not an exact number, but what we're trying to do is get a round number here. If you're doing some new builds, right, or maybe you've got projects around 500K, but you only do one of those, and then you've got 10 jobs that are filling in and around the gaps, and they're only sort of 50 to 80K. What we're trying to do is take the average. So if you grab all of those and you add them up and divide it by the total number of projects, that'll give us the round number. So in this case, to get to that 1.5 million, this person's got an average dollar sale of 200K. That would mean that they need 7.5 projects to hit that goal. Okay, nice and easy math on that. 7.5 times a 200K gets us to 1.5. Okay, now one of the big things that we're trying to encourage people to do is you can take on anything. It's not about pigeonholing yourself into one type of work, but if instead you can increase the job size that you're working on, that means that you need to work on fewer projects, fewer admin, fewer pricing, fewer everything else, client updates to hit that total turnover goal. Okay. And so in this case, what we're looking to do is increase that average for this person up to 500K. And so now to get to that $3 million with 500K average sale, they only need 6 projects. Okay. So to actually grow, they actually need fewer projects. Okay. And so trying to get really clear on that, making sure that we're increasing the average size whilst making sure that margin and everything else stays well. Okay. And I'll skim through this because I know that this is boring number stuff, but just really important to get some key numbers down here. Okay. So we put this next number in here for your average conversion rate. So your average conversion rate is total number of jobs or total number of leads, okay, and how many of those that you'd win. Now, most people that I speak with go, I'm awesome. I'd probably win 80% of people that I talk to, which is great, pat on the back. But if all of those people are from referrals and someone says, dude, you need to go and work with Julian, who do you think they're going to work with? They're going to work with Julian, right? Whereas if you start casting the net wider and you're another guy in the city doing same type of work as everybody else, naturally they're not coming through as a warm referral. They're coming through as a cold lead that you need to help with your marketing, do the education and nurturing, or you kind of have that conversation and you guide people through the process and build that trust with them. Okay. So across the last couple of years, we've been taking benchmarks of this. On average, most guys are sitting around 10%, okay, that are coming through. Now, we always double that number, the next number that comes through. So total number of leads being 60 in this case, 60 leads, 10% of those gives us 6 projects, okay? Hopefully the math's with me now. Everyone's on the podcast listening next week's going to be like, what is this guy talking about? But that ultimately takes us to 60 leads, okay? Now, we always double that because there's rubbish. You always get those people going, hey, can you buy this? Are you looking for people to hire? Or, you get rubbish coming through from all avenues, and that's just part of it, okay? There is a way to filter those out, but for now, it's just a matter of getting that total number through. So in this case, what we're looking at here is 120 leads, okay, across the year to hit that goal. Now, it's at this point that most people go, oh shit, that's a lot of people. Like at the moment, I'm only getting 1, maybe 2 people a month. How am I supposed to get to 120? Okay. But the good thing is that this all breaks down monthly and it's all about consistency, not about just doing this one time and kind of knocking it out. So nice and easy, we need 10 leads a month. Okay, 10 leads a month will get us to that $3 million goal. All be good. Okay, so this is where we always start. Again, I've got the resource there for you on that page. Go and use it yourself. Go and run through it yourself. But we'll put a pin in it here. Just want to have that understanding of where we're trying to get to. It's not a big number. Okay, 10 leads a month, very, very easy to do. And some numbers below this, if you're tuning in later, is around how much you need to spend on the leads and what that would look like as a cost per client and everything there. But we want to make sure that your pricing, your margin, everything's okay, which obviously Buildxact can help you with to make sure that, yes, we're getting more leads through, but you're going to do it in a way that you're actually making money. Okay.
Yeah, and just to add Cameron to this one as well, is that like this is what if you're not doing this, and sorry if you are doing this and you understand this stuff already, but I just want to reiterate because but like we do this at Buildxact. Like we know, like I know if I'm at an event and someone comes and speaks to me for 10 minutes, the conversion percentage of that is probably about 60 or 70% versus someone coming through a social media ebook or something that's a lower conversion. So I mean, eventually what you'd like to get is as much detail as possibly can, but we know roughly at Buildxact, based on how many people come in, we know roughly what the conversion percentage is going to be. So we base a lot of our decisions on, well, what do we need to do to get the required number of leads to make the number of new customers that are signing up based on that. So these things all flow into the very end number that you have coming out on it.
Yep, 100%. And so as far as going back a couple of pieces here from the, go back here to this overall picture, the place that you get the leads from is going to vary as well, which we'll touch on later on. But if you're getting Facebook ads, you're getting Google ads, you're getting referrals, all of these different platforms, all these different ways that you get people through, they all convert at different levels because of the way that people are finding you essentially. And so we'll talk about that a little bit later, but that does vary, and we just need to have this goal in mind for where we're trying to get to, okay? So we'll skip past the math and we'll jump into something else, which people have probably heard this buzzword 100 times, which is your avatar. Who's your avatar? Who are you actually marketing to? Okay. And normally what you do is you go through some program or you hear some marketing guy and they're like, okay, we need to look at background and decision making and psychographics and all this kind of stuff. But honestly, I've heard it the same amount of times as you, and it's bloody boring. Okay. Really, really important piece to do. Need to get it done. Stick it on the wall so you know exactly who you're talking to in your messaging. But going through this process and I spoke to someone the other day, spent 5 hours trying to dial this in, is just insane. Okay. Instead, what we've done is we put a tool together on that page for you so that you can go through and you can just spit this out the other side. So in order to figure out who your ideal clients are, you need to understand, or we need to create that for you with given a few bits of info. Okay. So obviously the company name, the location, right? The type of work and what you're kind of looking for. If you punch it into here, into this page and hit enter, we'll send you over an email of exactly what that looks like, okay? And this is the joy of tools and technology nowadays. We can do that for you on your behalf. But what we're able to do, if we get this piece right, we're able to tailor our messaging to be extremely clear. And if you've ever heard the term, or if anyone's ever done dog training around here, you can get a dog whistle, right? And only the dogs can hear that. It's at such a fine tune versus standing in the park and just shouting, okay? Both of them work, but ultimately, if you're only trying to attract the attention of your dog, we want to use that dog whistle. And this is the same concept that we're doing here. We're not just trying to shout, hey, the loudest, we do renovations in this area. We do new builds in this area. We want to figure out exactly who we're trying to target and just really tailor our messaging for them. And that way, you might think, oh, I'm not getting many likes and shares or whatever else. And that doesn't matter because what will happen is the right person will see this, the message will be clear for this, and you'll find that you'll get more clients through rather than just necessarily likes and shares, which you can't put in the bank, okay? So I'll give you guys a couple of minutes just to do this really quickly, is go through here. The most important piece of this whole thing is that last question here, type of work you do, give as much detail as possible. So I don't care whether you are not even a builder, this will still work for you. I'd love for you to not fill the form out if that's the case, but it'll still work the same way. We want to make sure that we put details in here around who you are, the company, the location, the details of the projects and stuff that you're looking for, and try and be specific. And so most of the time when we do this, we do a deep dive on the existing website of the client, or we'll have a 45-minute interview with them to figure out who they are, who their ideal clients are, that kind of thing. And then we'll shoot this out the other side with more context. but it can be done in quite a basic way. So I've got a couple examples here that I can share with you, but try and fill that box in there with more detail as possible. Okay.
Yeah, while Cameron's doing that, guys, if you can, if you hop in and fill that out, and just it'd be good to get your feedback on what you're getting on the chat. If you go into that link that Cameron posted earlier on, I'm not sure if it's did you post it in the chat? I'll post it in the
I'll
chat.
grab it now, yeah. Cool. Into the chat.
There we go.
There we go. Same time. Look at
Same
that.
time, yeah, perfect. Yeah, if you just go in and fill that out, it'd be good. Yeah, to get your feedback on it, and hopefully we can kind of get a bit of kind of working through and some discussion on this.
Exactly. Yeah. So hopefully you guys can, yeah, punch that in when you've got it, or give us a 2 in the chat just to mix it up a little bit when you've done that, and we can make sure we carry on and get some examples going. But the reason this is really important is if you don't know who you're targeting no one. Okay. So I've just broken down a really basic example here, right? This is probably as basic as I could have got it. I've gone with XYZ construction in Auckland, and I gave it that we were doing custom homes, basically, and that's as much as we got it. We still got some good information on the back end of this, and I just want to tab through this really quickly while you guys fill out the form. And like I say, chuck a 2 in when you're ready, and we can go through an example. But the ideal customer profile for someone who's looking for a custom home builder in Auckland is between 30 and 55, primarily couples, both male and female decision makers, upper middle class, high income, college education or higher. It might be professionals, executives, and business owners, married or long-term partnerships, families with children planning to have children, or some empty nesters. Okay, and obviously geographic location is wherever you're going to punch it in. Okay, now that's super basic, but we can go so many levels deeper. Okay, um, and that's what I've got on the next couple of slides. But just off the bat, Julian, what do you reckon? Would that be pretty close to someone who's looking at building a house?
Yeah, yeah, the general, yeah,
General guide, cool.
yeah,
So let's go deeper, okay? So now what we want to do is get into some of the psychographics, and I've got a few more after this. And so these kind of people are detail orientated, aspirational, value quality and craftsmanship, right? Pretty fair comment, looking to build a house, okay? They prioritize family, sustainability, and innovation. The lifestyle choices are generally active social lives, health conscious, community orientated. Perfect. Nice. We got one person's filled it out, so hopefully we can jump in
yeah.
and check theirs out. Maybe you just want to unmute, or if we can grab them on, that'd be awesome. And I'll just skim through these really, really quickly. But this goes through, their social media usage, their content consumption, the sort of things that they are actually looking for. Okay, emotional drivers, core desires, creating a bespoke, comfortable home, reflecting personal style. Fears wasting money on unreliable builders, budget overruns, and timelines. This is pretty darn close. Okay. So the idea here is that we have this entire document, okay, decision-making factors, goals and challenges, short-term, long-term goals, psychological triggers, social proof, scarcity, authority, language and tone and vocabulary and channels, customer journey touch points, awareness, consideration, etc. So a day in the life, right? So we want to get really, really deep and clear on this. And if you have this, just copy it onto your desktop, do whatever you like with it, save this in one place, because whatever you do in any of your marketing, if you can either give this to a freelancer or a copywriter, or you can use some ChatGPT or whatever else to actually write some ads with, if you have this information, it is extremely clear on who you're trying to attract. And again, that whole dog whistle analogy, you will attract people who you're actually trying to get in front of. Okay, right? Aspirational, cultural, social influences, brand relationship potential, blah blah blah. Right? You kind of get the point. Did we have anyone who wanted to share the example and what they came up with? If not, we
I
can
want
keep rolling. That's fine.
Yeah, just while waiting for that, mate, just wanting to, I'm guessing with this is that if you see some of those things and you go, oh, that's actually not my target market or whatever, then you obviously just delete them. And I'm assuming, look, being honest, I haven't used AI too much in terms of this stuff, but I'm sure you could paste a lot of that stuff into AI and tell you to write some
Yeah,
content, right? And it would do it.
exactly. And so that's exactly what we're going to get onto at the other end of this is we'll actually go through and we can write some ad copy with you. Okay, and I've got some examples. But unless we know who the company is, right, and who you are and who you're trying to target, it's very hard to write any kind of ad copy for any kind of promotion, right? So we're starting with the basics here, and that's why we did that first piece. Cool.
Yeah, and I think as well, like, again, sorry, I keep interrupting you,
All
but
right.
when you go too general, too broad, it doesn't really hit, it doesn't really resonate because you're competing with so many other people for that exact same space. And this isn't like with the work that builders do, it's not a Black Friday promotion. You can't just stick up a post that has a discount on it or quickly and all of a sudden you get a buy. It's this kind of
Mm,
like longer term nurturing, and it's a longer term playing into those key characteristics that people have over a longer period of time. It's like selling if anyone's ever done like selling ERP, it's like selling an ERP tool. It's a very long sales process that you have to, constantly work through.
yeah.
So yeah, this is really good to get this information, mate.
Yeah. Awesome. Perfect. So now, as far as this next piece here, what we then want to look at, so we've done the ideal customer profile, the avatar, the whatever you want to call it. We know who we're trying to target. Here's the perfect person for me. You can give them a name if you want to, always makes things more exciting. Okay. So that's the first piece done. The next thing we want to do is figure out what makes you guys special, unique, and different. Now, this is generally the challenge that most people have. As humans, we don't like talking about ourselves as much, okay? And that's why we all sit down and watch rom-coms, right, Julian? Sitting there watching some Home and Away or something. But
Love Island, Love Island,
Love
Christmas
Island, yeah,
time.
okay. We'll stop there on that one, yeah. So the next thing we want to do is try and talk about ourselves a little bit. And again, we can get into the easy way to do this, but I just want to show you through the process. When we're talking about ourselves, we want to make sure that we cover off these main pain points. Okay. So, not quote unquote talking about ourselves, but when we're communicating what we do and everything else, we want to cover off these main pain points. And this is what people are looking for that are looking to build or renovate or remodel. Okay. They want to know about budget. Okay. Am I going to stick to budget or is this going to blow out? Okay. It's a big pain point that people have. The next one, timeline or timing. How long is this going to take? Again, are we going to stick to time on this, or is this going to take far longer than I expected? So, before I jump onto the others, if you can overcome any of those things with what you do, your process, who you are, etc., then that's going to really make a big impact on how you relieve those fears and put people at ease and ultimately, you know, attract them and bring them into your world and build trust with them. So, for example, if you say, trying to talk about budget, people's concerns, am I going to run over budget? Well, no, we're not, because we use this amazing software called Buildxact, which allows us to spit out our pricing really, really accurately, which means that there's not going to be any budget blowouts at the other end, okay? Versus some guy that just turns up and throws a dart at a board, and obviously at the other end is going to just sting you, who's on charge up. But does that make sense? And so you're trying to tie the pain. Hey, I've got this issue. I don't want to blow my budget. Here's the mechanism we use, which is Buildxact, okay, to make sure that we, at the other end, don't blow out the budget. So trying to input the way that you do stuff or the tools that you use or who you are as a company to overcome those fears that people have. Make sense? Cool. So the other one, timeline, okay, same thing. We use these project plans. We use this software to make sure that we're communicating with you and timeline and everything here. Sort of rolls onto the third one, communication. Are you going to just take my money and then just ghost me? Or are you actually going to be in communication with me and understand any changes and help me kind of communicate through those? Again, we can do that through here and the client portal and everything else. Trustworthiness, how can I trust you? Well, we're part of this association, we have these awards, we so on and so forth. So we're trying to alleviate with the stuff that you guys do into those pain points. Last one here, number 5, is quality of workmanship. How do I know that you're actually going to do a good job? Or are you just going to turn up and do something and leave me sort of heartbroken at the other end with a poor job? Okay, so overcoming quality of workmanship issues, you can show past projects, you can show some of the quality assurance stuff that you go through, all of those things. But those are really the 5 that you need to cover off that people have concerns about.
Can I just jump in there again, mate? Is
Yeah.
that like when we talk about building that and what we do, a lot of it, people initially come to us from an estimating stuff. Like, it's starting to swing a little bit more job management because most people understand that you estimating software, takeoff software. So that's kind of okay now. But it's generally people save time using our platform. We don't
Mm.
just say we're focused on small bit residential construction. There's a value there, and I think maybe some things like how you communicate with customers once you've got them in the pipeline, the tailored ads that you could have. I'm guessing there's things that you could put in there where it might be something like the last 10 projects have come in under budget outside of additional variations or something, or
Yeah.
this is what we've delivered this project on time, this project on time, this project on time, like some kind of data there that kind of makes people think, because there is, I don't think it's as bad as it used to be, but there was at a time where it was a little bit car garages. I'm not sure what the
Mm.
terminology is over here. Back to
Yeah.
UK again. We call them garages in the UK, but car repair basically. And
Yeah.
it was always that feeling of like, am I getting robbed? Am I getting robbed? And I used to go into them all the time thinking they're going to rob me, they're going to rob me, they're going to rob me, they're going to rob me.
Yep.
Once you've dealt with them, once you know they don't rob you, then it becomes a bit easier. And I think you build that through ads and social media and things like that, what people see. But
Yeah.
it's not something I see too often about builders posting previous success. Like they show the success of, a picture or whatever.
Yeah. A pretty picture of something that they've done. Yeah.
Yeah,
Most
but
common thing
that
that you
even
see.
a pretty picture, I mean, that doesn't show um
No.
show
No.
the imperfections, it doesn't show if you've used cheap materials, it doesn't show, so you can make a picture look really pretty and doll it up in, photo editing and stuff. But in
Yep.
terms of like what the clients are thinking about afterwards and like the more specifics, not just like, oh, the builder was great to work with, da 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 da. It's
Yeah.
we came into budget, and that was a big thing for us, and
Yeah.
that kind of. So sorry, I've
No,
kind
no,
of
you're
talked
good.
over you a little bit, but it
Definitely.
jumped out at me a little bit there.
And probably a good point is like when you are talking about anything that you do, whether it's to clients, whether it's in your ads, whether it's in whatever platform or medium, talk about the warts and all, right? Like, hey, we had this project, the client wanted this. Ultimately, this happened. The material was not available. The next one was going to be this $50,000 extra thing. So we were able to work with them to understand another thing that would achieve their goals. We got this and they were happy with the solution and so on. Like, we can make sure that we can talk about all these different things that happened and turn it into a positive by just making sure that we overcome these primary things here. So I'll just share my screen again and we'll go through here really quickly. This one's really important. Okay. Anything that you do, really, really important. This is what you don't do. You don't go we, and you don't go us, because nobody cares about you. They care about themselves. Okay. They care about the challenges that they have. They care about the goals that they're trying to hit. And you are just the vehicle in the middle to help them get to that piece. Okay. And so that's just life and that's part of what it is. So if we're looking at a few things that some prompts here on what makes you guys stand out, be different, unique. Okay, what specific challenges do you or your clients face when building or remodeling a home that you uniquely solve? Okay. And I'll tap through these really quickly because again, you can kind of read through them afterwards. They're on the resources page. How do you personalize your service to fit the unique vision of the client? What makes your approach to design and construction stand out from competitors? What additional services or perks do you provide that you add value to your client experience? Okay. And so expertise and credibility, what qualifications, certifications, and awards give you an edge in the market? Okay. Like you think about little things like you might have gone and done a half-day training at some supplier's workshop and they gave you a certificate for it that you went, oh, that's rubbish. I don't need that. A good example was an injection ground leveling guy, ground stabilization. He got the certificate from the company, but he flew over to America. He trained to use that product, and he came back and he had this and said to him, dude, why don't you showcase that in your marketing? Why don't you tell people about it? Because this guy over here is saying that I do the job, but you say it over here and you've got this fancy certificate to prove that you're authorized or qualified or whatever else. It's just how can you bring the stuff that you already do and you already have into the fold so that people are clear about it, okay? So market positioning, what's your unique story or background, okay? Maybe, not sure if Glenn was on here or not. I saw him, I jumped on, but he really simply started his apprenticeship, got to the point of qualified, worked for a little bit, went over to the UK, did things over there. There's different building processes and things like that. Then he went over to the US and did a bit of stuff there, and then came back to Australia and now has all this different experience from different ways that people do things. And now he can tie that experience into doing a much better job of your project versus someone else who's only ever built in one place. So you're all special, you're all unique. But just click through these because there's a ton of these. But ultimately, you can just steal these ones. So here's some swipe and deploy, fill in the blanks examples. Again, they're on the resources page. You can copy and paste them. But for example, we pride ourselves on X day, week, guaranteed response times for all client questions and concerns. Okay. Tell people that every time they send a message, you'll reply to them in X time frame. Gives them confidence that you're going to communicate with them, right? So All makes sense on that. Trying to make sure that you guys are special, you are unique, you have a story, you do things differently in just little ways. Let's make those shine. And so now that you've got something special about yourselves, we can shape and mold. Okay. All good on that?
Yeah, Cameron, just to add on that with these kind of examples, my home that I'm in, we bought it, and you know, at the time we bought, we didn't really know much about houses and things like that, but it's built by a volume builder, and they can find corners to cut in a circle, mate. Like there is the amount of things that I didn't notice at the time, and I don't think people actually. We're also getting about 10 Camerons joining in at one point there. I'm not
Want
sure
to
if you.
fill in the attendees list here, add myself a few
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, I'm not sure if someone's using your link or something, or
That's
just
right. It might be my recorder. That's right.
okay, yeah. But like my every post outside of my garden, they've only painted the front of it. So any angle that you look at each post that's not directly in front, you see the timber on the side that's
Yep.
not been painted. The downpipes are only half painted. And it's not even like a nice clean line. It's like you can see the brush strokes going up. Now that for me, that's like it's a bit of an annoyance that we didn't notice when we bought it. I mean, probably
Mm,
wouldn't necessarily change the decision on buying it, but it's something I don't really think when you're a smaller builder and you're trying to set yourself apart from these giant builders that have like a 2 or 3% profit margin and building these houses really cheap, kind of educating your customers about what where those corners they're probably going to cut. Like as a small builder that's trying to build higher end homes or at least better quality homes, these are the areas that some of these builders cut. We don't cut those corners. We make sure that our trades finish the job properly. Da 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 da. But we all know that the reason why these trades do that sort of half job is they're working on so many projects at such small margins, and they do their job as quickly as possible. And there will be issues that come from that. I had a leak in the window
yeah.
frame. The house is only, the house when we bought it was only like 3 years old. Leaks in the window frame because it hasn't been filled properly. Like if I don't notice that, if I'm buying it as an investment property, how much damage is that going to cause me down on the other end, and how many of those things are going to come up in 2 or 3 years' time? I think
Mm,
those are the kind of things that I don't really see people kind of delving into. That might be happening on the more detailed conversations level, but
mm.
we don't cut corners when we build. But that kind of image like really resonates to people that have been scarred in the past or are nervous going into it.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. And so a couple of things that you could do if alleviating those concerns is, oh, and we understand that things happen, right? Properties settle over time and all this kind of stuff. And so we have a 1 year revisit policy where we'll come back after the 1 year mark and we'll do all these touch-ups on your house, right? People will go, oh, wow, that's amazing. So you're not just going to leave me as soon as this thing's done and take my money. You're actually care and you're going to come back. And ultimately, that's going to get you back in front of them. You can organize, some quick touch-ups with a couple of your sub-trades. It might cost you a couple $100, but you've then got someone you can visit for a testimonial. You can also see if they've got any friends that want to, do any other work and all this kind of stuff. And so, even by being special, unique, and different, you can stem that into other portions of work and things as well, right? All right, just to make sure everyone's not asleep, we're all still pushing forward here. Can you guys give us a one in the chat if it's all making sense? You want to get into the good stuff here. You want to actually make some money. Yeah, love it. All right, perfect. Let's keep going. I'll share my screen. We'll pick up the pace a little bit. So this next piece here, where do I start? Okay, so a really big question with people, and super common that I have conversations with people that go, oh man, yeah, we were doing this SEO last year. We did it for about 6 months, wasn't getting anything from it, and so we pulled the pin. Okay. It really kills me inside because of the wastage that they've just gone through. So they just spent 6 months where they could have been doing something more beneficial on something that could potentially have worked. But the understanding is that this platform is not the right platform for them. They should have started somewhere else and moved into another platform. Okay. Same way that people might have done the website first and they're like, oh, I've got this amazing website, but I'm not getting any leads. It's because you need people to actually see the website. Okay. So all of this stuff needs to be in sequence. And ultimately, there's a few ways that you can do that. But this, in general, is the way that you want to look at it. Okay. When you're choosing the marketing channel that you want to go onto first, it's going, what does your pipeline look like? And cash flow and all that kind of stuff. Again, coming back to the long sales cycle, you guys are not trying to get people in the door tomorrow with a credit card. It's a longer term process. But if you have very little work ahead, there's no point in doing SEO because SEO takes a lot of technical skills and time, and it might be 6 to 9 to 12 months before you actually start seeing leads come through. Therefore, it's not going to help you in the short term, right? I have no work. I need to get work quickly, okay? On the flip side, if we go into social ads, which is what we've got here, social ads are really good for getting people to take action by putting a message in front of them. Are you looking to X? Click below, get in touch, we'll have a chat and make it happen, okay? There's always, in any market, for whatever product, there's always 3 to 5% of people who are ready to take action right now, okay? Which is a good thing. We can mop up those people. That does have a downside to it though, okay, which I'll touch on in a minute, but really good for getting stuff through quickly, probably not very good long term, okay? Next one there, I have some work, but I need to stack more ahead. Pretty common for guys here, and it's a good position to be in because at least you understand that you need to start doing something. Generally speaking, what we want to do here is go for PPC or Google ads, okay? Pay per click. So we can put ads in front of people today, tomorrow, over a very short period of time. And those people can click that ad and come through to your website and decide whether you're a good fit or not, and ultimately get in touch. So there's a few benefits to that one, but it's a little bit more technical to set up, and that's why it sort of falls into that, hey, I've got some work, but need to fill the gaps after. The last one here is where you want to be in this position. I'm booked well in advance, but I want to stay that way. I want to be the best known builder in the area. I want to be the go-to guy, and I don't want to worry about work. This is when you want to start looking at things like organic SEO, okay? If you can show up in the first page of Google organically so that people see you at the top and they click and you don't get charged for those clicks, then naturally you're going to have most people come through to you, okay? If you're not on the first page, you don't exist, okay? And it's pretty much that way. The top 3 results get most of the people through, along with the ads and everything at the top, okay? So just thinking about this now, I just want people to put a bit of a pause and just chuck in the chat. Are you going for 1, 2, or 3? Where are you at the moment? Do you need the work? Okay, and want to do things quickly, just so I can get a gauge on this next step that we're going to take. Number 2, chuck it in the chat if you have some work but want to stay ahead. Or number 3, you're booked in advance and want to stay that way. Just give it a minute while you guys chuck that in. Okay, cool. Awesome. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Glenn, well done, man. I saw that message the other day about that contract you just signed. Well done. Perfect. Okay, so good mix. Got some 1s, some 2s, and some 3s, okay? What we want to do is most builders fall into the struggle of they don't realize they need the work until they need the work, okay? And so naturally, that's most of the conversations we have. So that looking at the social ads portion and going back to that overall sort of system that we mentioned earlier, this is your social ads portion, okay? Let me be very, very clear here. This is not social media. I don't need you to go and dance around on TikTok and shoot videos and post 100 times a day, okay? Selfies and stories and this and that and the other thing. That is not social media. This is social advertising, okay? Theoretically, you could have a completely blank Facebook page with only your name and a placeholder logo, and you can run social ads, okay? The reason I'd be very clear on that one is because one of them will get you leads, and one of them may or may not, okay? So to get leads from social media, it's a whole different process. Social ads, you can put an ad up today, tomorrow, very, very low tech, faster setup, and generally quote unquote cheap cost per lead, okay? So that's the pros. So really, really simple for this one. It's always the first place I point people towards. I've got some templates. Naturally, the one on the back end of this is the exact template that we've run multiple times before. Really, really quick to get running. It's what we call the quick grab strategy, and really good to mop people up. Now, there are a couple of cons to this one, is that it won't last forever. So you imagine, you ever seen one of those planes flying around the city with a big sign on the back of it that says, whatever, 99-cent tacos, or whoever the offer is. Everybody in the city looks up and they see that message, and you go, I want some tacos. And you go and get some tacos. If you don't want tacos, you're not going to pay attention, right? So really good, these ads, at putting a message in front of people, getting them to take action. I've always thought about building a deck. I've been trying to, figure out when the right time is to do it. Yeah, I'll take you up on that offer. Get in touch. Let's make it happen, okay? Really quick to get people to take action and all that kind of stuff. But once you've got those people take action, it becomes less effective, okay? Because you're putting the same message in front of people that aren't interested. So doesn't last very long. Generally, you'll get 30, 60, maybe 90 days out of it if you're lucky, depending on how big the city is. But there's also more time wasters as well, because people are scrolling on their phones. They see an ad pop up and they go, oh yeah, that'd be a great idea. Well, that's a good offer. Or yeah, I'd love to do that. But they're not actively looking for you. And so naturally you get people that are kind of curious and time wasters and stuff. So with all of this, and especially from the social ads, just be mindful you're not trying to have a conversation with everyone. You're trying to have a conversation with one or two people that are a good fit and just ignore the rest. Okay, there's a lot of noise. So that's the social ad side of things. The next one here is your PPC or your Google ads. It could be Microsoft/Bing. They have another ad platform which is very similar. Basically, for this one here, people are searching for certain things, builder near me, renovation builder, home edition, second story edition builder, whatever. Then an ad pops up when they've hit enter at the top of the screen, and there's generally 4 results or 4 ads on top of everything else. You can show up in there relatively quickly. The challenge here is that it requires, to make it effective, landing pages to be built out, which are different to your website. And it can be very expensive if you do it poorly, okay? So most people will do this. They'll turn on an ad, they'll pay some money to Google, and they'll point it to their website. You can make that work really well, okay? That can work. It'll cost you about $250 per lead that comes through on average, okay? When you do it right and you have landing pages and you have an offer in front of people that's attractive, you can get leads as cheap as 25 to 75. Generally, the average this year we've generated about 4,000 leads, and the average cost per lead was about $48.50. Okay, so approximately $50 when this is all dialed in and working well. But that is a lot of stuff in the background that needs to fall into place to make it happen. So pros to this: generally higher quality lead. Someone's not sitting on the toilet scrolling on their phone. They're actually generally typing into the computer, okay, or on their phone for a solution. So they're looking for a solution and they find you. Good connection. You can be very precise with your targeting. So you could target really wealthy neighborhoods. You could target some growing areas. You could target your ads that are looking to do spec builds or in a new subdivision, right? So you can really get quite clear on the targeting there versus the social ads where you're putting a blanket cover out to most people with an ad, okay? Number 3 is a pretty evergreen. Evergreen meaning that you can run it for a long period of time. As long as you keep it sort of in the guide rails and make adjustments every so often, then you can keep it in the right direction. You can keep stuff coming through. You can always turn up the taps and turn down the taps if you need more or need less, okay? So that's your Google Ads side of things. All making sense so far? Cool. Anyone got any emojis in the chat box? Go on, entertain me. Cool, guys. The last one here is your organic SEO, right? AKA top of the page. Nice one. So at the top of the page, when you do a search term, again, it might be builder near me, you're going to get those 4 ads show up, and then underneath those ads, you're going to have all of the other listings on the page. Those are the organic listings that Google puts at the top of the page that are most relevant, okay? So now with those ones there, those are generally going to be your highest quality leads, okay? Because in the back of people's minds, people are thinking, it's an ad, yep, I'll come through, I'm interested to have a conversation. Where they see someone else who's on the top 3 of the page, they have like an implied referral kind of a thought pattern of, if Google's put them at the top, they must be the best. Therefore, I should probably talk to one of these 3. Okay. So they both work really well, but generally you'll get a higher conversion rate of people through this SEO approach. You get quote unquote free clicks, okay? Because everybody that comes through and finds you, clicks on your website, comes through, you don't pay for those clicks. You pay nothing to get them through. But you need to get to that point, okay, which requires a lot of labor, writing content, getting the website structured, all these other technical things. So when you get to that point, they are quote unquote free, but you need to get to that point by spending the money or doing the work yourself, okay? And lastly, evergreen as well. So they do last a long time, okay? So if you get to that point and you can stay on top, okay, some things you need to do to stay there as well, then generally it'll keep working consistently. Downside, this is very techy. And so, some people get into it, you can learn a lot. Probably if you just stick to building houses and you do that really, really well, then you'll make more money by doing that and leave it to somebody else who knows what they're doing, okay? But that leads on to number 2. Lots of people don't know what they're doing. Okay, because Google and all these other platforms change the platform so regularly in the way that they find people in search and how they showcase you at the top or wherever your position is. If you don't keep up to date with that as a marketing professional, then you're generally going to be doing the wrong thing and your clients' results aren't going to work. Okay. So when you do this, try and see examples of other case studies or things that people might have done. For example, client was here, they now have increased the amount of traffic to here, okay, and you can see that data and you can back it up or you can prove it. But you want to make sure that they have done that same thing in your market. Okay, so going back to Julian's comment about different industries and things, you can do this really, really quickly, very, very quickly, in fact, for things like pest control, for dentists, for all of those things, because it's a different process. Getting somebody to the top of the page in construction is a little bit different, and because of the whole approach into it. Okay, so just making sure that you understand that, and there are different people out there who specialize in different areas. And the last thing is it takes time to see results. So if you need work now, this is not the thing for you to do. But if you're looking to ultimately stay at the top and be the best known builder, then you just need to understand that it takes time to get here. So we had a guy, JRA, they were doing some ads and they said, hey, we want to just focus on being at the top. They're ultimately now in 2 placements for Home Extensions Auckland, one for a informational piece, one for a service piece, and their traffic has grown and they get free clicks coming through from that point. But to get them from the start to where they were there, it was between 4 to 6 months to really start seeing good leads coming through from that, okay? It just takes time.
Just to jump in on that, Cameron, because I kind of understand this to some degree, but just in case anyone doesn't, when you say techie, we're talking about blogs that have very keywords in there. It's this type of content's on your website, locations being mentioned, all that kind of stuff. That's why it's, a lot of work for someone to go in and do it, and not very
Mm,
hard, I think, for just a normal business owner that doesn't have experience in this to go in and say,
yep.
I'm just going to put something up on here and hopefully I'm going to pop up in Google and get loads of ads.
Yeah, exactly, man. You did right. So yeah, tons of moving parts into it. You need to make sure that the website is built correctly to start with. Okay, most people build the website to look nice, but it's poorly structured so that when Google reads the page, they don't know what the hell you do. Okay, we see that all too commonly. Then there's other things around getting quote unquote votes to your website through links and other resources there, and mentions on the internet. And so there's a whole sort of ecosystem of stuff that needs to be done to make this work. And even me being in the space, it's just constantly evolving. And so, you can do it, but just bear in mind that it is super techy to kind of get to the level where you need to get it. Okay. Everybody cool on that? If you want to chuck into the chat your next sort of what platform you need to focus on, again, that'll give me a good gauge on this next piece, which is actually writing the ads. Okay. So for those that were in the chat before, obviously kind of looking at where the pipeline's at, which platform are you going for? Cool. Emily, social ads. Chris going for social ads. Good.
Yeah, it's mostly ones I think on the first
Yep.
round that we.
Cool. Alrighty, nice one. So now as far as writing the actual ads, there are some, and stemming back to that one that I mentioned before, nobody cares about you, but they care about themselves. If somebody's looking to build or renovate or remodel, there are some certain categories that they fall into or big questions and concerns that they have. Okay, which the first one here is cost. How much is this going to cost me? Right? What's my budget need to be? Am I going to get a ROI on this? And what value does it have, etc. So if somebody has that question or that concern, then what you need to put in front of them is, hey, why don't you get an online estimate for what this might cost you? It takes 60 seconds, you fill in these buttons, and ultimately they can get a ballpark figure on, is this possible, is this not, or is this going to be what they expected? So we've got a tool that does this, ultimately customized pricing and everything there, where people can tap it through. Now, I can tell you that a normal website will convert about 1% of visitors into a lead. Doing it this way, we've had it as high as 27%, or instead of getting 1 out of every 100 visitors that comes to the website from the Google ads, we're getting 1 out of every 4. Okay. And that's just matching up. Instead of talking about yourself, we've been in business 25 years and all this kind of stuff. We're saying, this is all about you. You want to know how much it's going to cost? Sure. Fill out our online calculator and figure out. Okay. The next one that people have is around planning, project management, permits, timeline duration, etc. So we want to give them a lot more of that information in a concise way. So you could give them like a complete checklist for building, right? You could give them an A to Z or whatever, all around that process. We've actually, gone as far as ghostwriting some books, right? So you imagine, oh wow, Dwayne wrote the book on building a house. John wrote the book on renovating your home. Wow, this guy really has covered all the bases. He must be good, okay? And so that's a big one around the process. The next one is comparisons. So people want to know, what materials do I choose? How do I choose a builder? Where do all these contractors fit into the process? And so just thinking about the materials one, if you could offer them a solution for that one, it could be like a selections checklist, okay? Last one, design trend styles. You could do a lookbook or a showcase, that kind of thing. And then problems. And this is where most people see is like a 7 things to avoid or a whatever else. A sort of guide avoiding the problem. So when you're writing your ads, you need to have an offer. And the offer is going to be based off one of these things. Get in touch or contact us is not an offer. The offer instead is something different. Okay. So to write ad copy, you'll need a couple of things. And look at this, they sort of tie into what we've already run through today. We need to know the company background, who, what, where, etc. Like who are you, what do you do, and where do you do work and all that kind of basic stuff. The second one is your USP, which we ran through before. We do this stuff special and so on. Okay. The next one is your ideal client profile. So step number one, who are we writing the ads for? You, right? All of your information. Number two, who are we actually writing to? Like, who are we trying to target in our ads? Well, that's your ideal client profile. You've now got that as well. Cool. The third thing is the offer, and that's what we've just looked at here. The offer itself is one of these things. Okay, it could be contact us. Don't get me wrong. That's still an offer. But if you can make it sound a bit more attractive than contact us, you can say, get a free design and build consultation where we'll do A, B, C, and D. Again, it's all the stuff that you guys do and you talk to people about, but you're not saying contact us because that's just boring. And then the last thing, once we have the offer, is the hook. Okay. And so the hook is a way that you could talk about that thing which is attractive to people. So I've got a couple examples here. I just wanted to show you this one. So let's say that you've got a complete checklist to, building a house, right? If we want to, so that's our offer. Okay. We know who we're targeting. We know who you are. The hook or the angle for this is now going to be one of these multiple things. Avoid the number one new home building mistake. Okay, the $50,000 blunder most Auckland home builders make or homeowners make. Discover the costly error that 78% of new home builders fall into. Get this checklist. It reveals how to sidestep these expensive mistakes and 20 other crucial steps to your dream home. If you're looking at building a house, it's pretty damn attractive, right? The hook is don't fall for these mistakes. And if you see that ad versus everyone else saying, we've been in business 25 years, we're the best, which one do you think you're going to click onto, right? So all we're trying to do here is pump up what you guys do and tie it to the pains that people are already experiencing. Okay, and you can read through the other ones here. This is all just for one angle here. The other one, the secret insider checklist that top builders don't want you to see, is your builder hiding these 7 crucial steps, build your dream home in half the time and blah, blah, blah. So not all of these are going to be amazing and they need refining, but this is what we call a hook. And this is a way of getting much more attention from people from something that could normally be quite boring. Okay. Make sense? Cool.
Yeah, just I think even as well, Cameron, like the amount of things that is so hard to do after a build is finished. And
Yeah.
things you need to be doing at the start. Like my head just went into like things like safety, like what kind of security doors, what kind of cameras you need to be putting in. Some of those kind of things are really important for people as well. Again,
Yep.
depending on the area you're in.
Yeah.
Those
So
things, yeah.
this is like a snapshot of like a few things that we have built out that you can just kind of swipe and deploy. One of the other ones that we have is like a blue tape walkthrough. When you move into your house, how do you know that you're going to cover everything that you should so that the handover is flawless? We'll follow this checklist and go through and check all these things when you do the walkthrough with your builder. It's a great resource for you guys to offer as well because it shows that you're transparent and helping them and everything else. But for someone that's looking to build or renovate, it's hugely beneficial for them because they know that they're going to tick that box off at the end of the thing. Okay, so lots of different ways that you can ultimately get in front of people by offering different resources, solutions, that kind of thing. The best solutions are going to be things that are short and actionable and generate a result. Okay, so for example, you could write a blog post about how much is it going to cost to build a house, but that means people have to sit there and read it for 30 minutes, right? You could give them an ebook with some examples of how much these projects costed, which is better and it's shorter. Or you could again go back to that tool. It's like enter your details here, and in 60 seconds, you'll end up with a ballpark budget. So reduced amount of time, give them a result. That's going to be the most attractive offer that you put in front of people. Or contact us. Okay. So now that we've got our hooks or our angles, we can then take a look at writing ads. So this next example here is some ads that you could write for Google, okay, if you're doing the Google Ads approach. Auckland's Dream Home Builders free building checklist, right? luxury custom homes, your style, start the journey today. Expert craftsmanship, blah, blah, blah. Download our complete checklist today. Save time and money on your dream home. Transparent process, yada, yada, yada. So we're another one down there. Don't risk your dream home. Our checklist prevents $50,000 errors. Build your home, avoid costly mistakes. So we're trying to take the hook that we've just got and tie it into what people are looking for. And this is the ad that it's going to end up as. So this would be like an example of a Google ad, a headline or multiple headlines and a description. And that's what people see when they are searching up for something. Okay. But that's kind of where you end up going through that process of who you are, what makes you special, who you're targeting with the ad, what's the actual offer or what's the thing that you're doing for people, and then the hook, and then that all just ties into the ad really, really easily. Okay. All makes sense. Everybody cool on that? Does everybody want to see the 7-figure ad example? Right. We've been running this for multiple years. It just works. Okay. Chuck us a 3 just to make things really, really different in the chat. Go on. We got 1. We got 2. Okay, there we go. There we go. I thought I was going to be sitting here all by myself for a minute there. So this one is what will tie into most of your guys' concerns of I need work now / soon. This is a social ad. This is an ad that you can literally copy and paste. People try to edit it. Every time they edit it, it doesn't work very well. So just stick to the script. It will work for a period of time. Give it 30 days, run a certain budget to it, and then mop up what comes through, work with 1 or 2 people that are good, and then you can move on to other things, okay? But this is what you need to do, and if you need examples or a walkthrough of how to do that, I've got a step-by-step on how to actually set it up as well. But this is the ad in minor variations of the same thing, okay? So this is one that we wrote, well, there you go. So this screenshot's from 2021. That's how long we've been running it, okay? And it's actually been going since before then, and we're still running this angle now, and multiple sort of various angles as well. The offer for this is contact us. Okay, so it's as simple as you can get. There's nothing you need to set up to do this. But instead of saying contact us, we're saying get a free design and build consultation, absolutely free. Okay, this consultation includes a design consultation. Oh, I'm not a designer. I don't have a designer. No, it's not that. It's going, hey, I've been building homes for 20 years. Have you ever thought about this area here? You've got a hallway. That could be a really nice mudroom, right? That's design consultation. That's you helping them to give them ideas on design. If they want a full design thing, like that's a separate piece. What we're trying to do here is tell people the different stuff that you offer so that it sounds more attractive, right? Site walkthrough inspection, director's consultation. Oh, you're the director. Great. But it sounds much better than just saying, I'll come to your house. Okay. Selections, checklist, and comparison. Okay. Estimate and budget scope, timeline and estimate, connection to our preferred partners network, right? You already work with great trades. By working with you, they get access to those preferred partners. So all of these things are things that you do already. Okay. So what you do is you call out the audience. Are you looking to build or renovate? State the offer. We're giving away 13 design and build consultations absolutely free, normally valued at over $995. Okay. And if the people that we work with get to a point where they're busy and they actually charge for their time, and as you should be as well, as lawyers and all those kind of guys do, they charge by the minute. You guys should be charging for that as well when you get to the point of being busy. Okay, so they genuinely do cost that time if you're paying for experience. State the benefits after the offer, so the ones I just ran through. Then relate it to the pain. So our goal is making building and renovating low stress and exciting. We've all heard the horror stories of budget blowouts and timeline overruns. We have extensive systems and checklists in place to ensure your budget is delivered on time and on budget. Okay. The last one, tell them what to do. People are stupid. They don't know how to do things. Okay. And I mean that in the nicest way. On Facebook, all they need to do is hit this little button at the bottom. Okay. So tell them what to do. Here's what to do. First, fill out the form by clicking the button below to claim your free consultation. Number 2, we'll schedule a time for your call with our team as soon as possible to see where you're at if you qualify and when we can meet in person or virtual. Okay, and if you want to, you can add in some scarcity as well, which is remember, there's limited availability for this free offer. Book now to avoid disappointment. Okay, imagery, just to go alongside that, use nice, bright images of work that you've done potentially. Interior shots work really well. Don't ask me why, but pictures of internal staircases work phenomenally well. If you don't have anything nice, okay, and we've done this for people that have literally just started business, you can go into places like Unsplash and all those kind of stock sites, and you can get free images from there to use as well. So There is literally no excuse why you can't use this. It works really, really well. Please just keep in the back of your mind that it will not last forever. So turn it on, run it for a period of time, generally $25 a day as a ballpark, and run it for about a month, and then have it turn off or turn it off yourself. Okay. And not all of those conversations that come through are going to be amazing, but there will be one or two people that are a good conversation that turn into money. Okay. The last one here, just as a bonus, this one is one that I didn't really cover off. It's not an ad or anything else. This email here is called a Dean Jackson 9-word email. If you have ever spoken with, like if you've been in business for more than 6 months, you've spoken with multiple people somewhere, whether it's your accounting package, whether it's your emails, whether you've got a spreadsheet of people that you've had before they come through. If you get those people, get your missus to help you, get whoever, go through your emails, get all this list of people, whether it's 10 people or whether it's 50 people, send this email out to them. Go to Gmail or whatever, click BCC, put all of the details in there, and send this email. Or send it one-on-one, whatever. Hey, name. Hey, Julian. Are you still looking at renovating? Question mark. Okay. This email gets about 60, 70% of people to reply. If it's a no, that's fine. At least we know for certain that they're out. But there's also people, because this is such a long process that people go through, they go, oh yeah, I am actually. I've just been meaning to get round to it. You reckon we could chat? Sure. How's tomorrow at 2 o'clock, right? If you send this email out to people, doesn't matter what industry you're in as well. Hey, are you still looking at X? Works really, really well to get people come back that you've spoken with before or are sort of floating around. Send this out to people pre-Christmas, post-Christmas, whatever else, and this will guarantee that you have conversations coming back and it works extremely well, okay? You can do bonus points as well if you send it out via text, but obviously that's a bit more challenging. So that's pretty much all I got. Happy to open up to Q&A. If anyone's got any questions, chuck them in the chat. If they've got any that they want to unmute or whatever else, then we can do that as well. But hopefully that was helpful. Julian, I don't know if you've got any other questions that came up for yourself.
No, I mean, I think why would an email like that work better in terms of getting a response versus something a bit more, because we've just spoken earlier on about like how figuring out the ideal customer, what do they care about, all these, and kind of like targeting all of that stuff at them. But then at the same time, why does a really simple email like that work really well to
Yeah.
get people's attention?
Yeah, so if you look through your inbox, and mine would be a horrendous example. I've got like 50 emails in there. All of them are like Black Friday, 50% off, or they're like, hey, can you send me this thing? All of them require work.
Now I have 20,233.
You're not one of those people, are you?
I am one of those
Terrible.
people.
Terrible.
20,000,
Call
yeah.
me call me silly, but I actually never knew that the way you're supposed to use email is archive things that are sort of dealt with. Anyways,
Yeah.
if you get it, if you get an email that comes through that says, "Hey Julian, you want to get lunch tomorrow?" from someone that you know, or just like it's a short thing. It doesn't require you to do any work. It's not trying to sell you something. All right, you could send the same email that says, "Hey Julian, we spoke a while back and you were looking at this and la 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 la. Do you want to book a call and we can run through this and we can?" And people are going, "Oh, I don't want a sales call." But all they're trying to do here is get a reply from somebody. And so it works really well. It comes off really low effort, low energy,
Yeah.
just asking a question as a friend or a colleague or that kind of thing, personal relationship. We're just trying to get a reply from people, and it works so well to do that.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. Love it. Glenn
Yeah,
says,
any questions, guys?
thanks.
Anyone want to jump on, have a more personal thing, like any advice if you do? Yeah, thanks, Emily. Yeah, like, do you have any particular things how do I tailor this from if I'm in regional Victoria versus in a city, and then maybe there isn't like a huge network of people in my regional town? Like,
Mm.
if you got any questions like that, anyone wants to jump in?
Yeah, happy to open up. Got a few more minutes here that we can do some Q&A, and if
Yeah,
not, we
yeah.
can all wrap it up and go to lunch. But yeah, no, all good.
That,
Thanks.
that, that was really good, mate. I mean, it's something that I think I think a lot of people go down the route of just getting Google or just saying I'm going to put a social media advert, or I'm just going to put a walk through a home, and
Yeah.
people are going to see this home and go, "Oh, I want a home like that," and they're going to start reaching out and contacting me. And really, it doesn't work. It doesn't work like for Buildxact. Doesn't work like for most businesses. I'm sure you've
Mm.
got marketing for your business that how you target people as well.
Yep.
And it's not about like, "Oh, look at this really nice project we did a while ago." Like
Yeah.
it's how what's the trigger, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
from our side, like I don't know the specifics on the exact adverts that are going out because I guess I don't get the same promotions as maybe you guys as builders would do, but there'll be some things will be like around saving yourself time, giving yourself time back into your day, speeding up your estimating process, focusing more time in your business, managing your projects better, and what does that entail? And that's better cost accuracy, less overruns and budgets because you're more aware of it. All those things are real like value
Yep.
selling.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. And like it'll work in so many different ways in different industries. It's like the strategy around all of this changes slightly, but ultimately you can kind of do similar things. And then the messaging and everything else, will change a little bit as well. Dude, I think we've crushed it. I think we've absolutely nailed this one. Thank you so much. Feel like I've got a clear plan. Info was so clear. Know what to do. Got to run. All good. Really agree. Follow along. Have a clear way forward. I like the really simple description of where you are in the sales process and what advertising marketing to use. Terrible spelling, don't worry. We've all got that. Autocorrect's the best. And Emily, need to engage someone. Cool. Yeah, I mean, happy to have a chat. Yeah, if you need help, contractorscale.com, same place. Happy to kind of have a chat, point in the right direction if we're not a good fit, that kind of thing. That's totally cool. Otherwise, hopefully, Julian, we can do this another time, jump into
Yeah,
deeper
yeah.
into one of the other topics like social media or websites or anything else and kind of point people in the right direction there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I like Cameron that you gave some like real easy copy and paste options. Like it's just I'm just going to whack that in,
Yeah,
just get something out there really easy. I don't need to pay anyone to do it. I'm just going to put it in. I've got a picture already that I can use off my Instagram. I'll put that in there. Bam, bam,
yep,
bam, 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 and let's just see how it goes and just yeah, kind of get that ball rolling that way. 'Cause
100%.
look, there are people, and we didn't really cover this on the call. There are people over Christmas that are finally get time on their phones, finally get time to sit around and just chill out. There are people that just go away for the thing and they leave their phone and they go camping and stuff, and they're like a no go, like they don't get anything. But
Yep,
more and more people, like I'm one of those people as well. I've got a young family now. I'm busy. I'm going to the gym, trying to cook dinner. I'm cleaning, all that kind of stuff. Over that Christmas period, a lot of housework stuff. The skips in my area, 2.5 hour queue to
yeah.
get in. People have time when they're on their phones in the evenings and stuff. Like it's a good time to kind of get that information out to them.
Oh, definitely. And it's one of those things. My wife and I were the exact same example, sitting around at summertime going, oh man, I wonder how much it would cost to get a pool put in. Went in, researched all this stuff, searched all the things, went through that process, sent off some inquiries and forgot about it and went and chilled out again. 8 months later, we had a pool put in. So,
Yeah.
it works really well. People are in that whole mindset, but you need to be in front of people to obviously to get the
Yeah.
opportunity to do that. So,
And the thing is as well, it's like you're not just because people are ready to like people being ready to look at something doesn't necessarily mean they're ready to buy something. But when they're ready to look, if you can get them in at that point, now you have them. So
yeah,
now I've got them in my database. That I've got them as a potential lead, even if it's not for another 6 months or so. But now I can hit them with budget on time,
yep,
accurate, or I can hit them with a particular type of, one of those things that you were mentioning there, Cam. I think that's kind of the thing. The other thing I think some people don't realize that like, I'll get
mm,
leads in doesn't always mean like getting sales right in, but now you can nurture them. And I said
yep,
we do that at Buildxact. We'll get people, we'll call them. Sometimes they don't answer. Sometimes they do answer. They're not ready. Cool, that's no problem. They'll get an email or something else, and eventually we stay front and center with the branding. Whether they come along to a webinar, they might, Buildxact obviously do a little bit of help in this space and they help people. Maybe that creates a good brand image. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know, depending who joins.
yep.
But you get people all throughout that process, and eventually the person that tries to come in at the last minute and get that lead is never going to beat you that have been nurtured through that process.
Yeah. 100%, man. We just got one last one from Peter.
Yeah.
Thanks for the presentation. Can you give me a starting point for those or starting from position of social media? Any examples, online courses, etc. Look, hey, one of my big focuses for next year is trying to make this available for everyone. And so we've got a community group that we're building out to just share all of this stuff with you. I only want to work with a small group of people, of good people, and ultimately, and the rest of those kind of people can take what we use and can swipe and deploy it, that sort of thing. So if you want to, we've got a group. So contractorscale.com, you can check us out there, have a chat, or contractorscale.com/group. And that should take you through to the group where we can obviously, ask questions and all that kind of stuff as well. So
Yeah,
yeah,
awesome. If we did something, I'm kind of getting Cam to agree to this before I've even spoken to him about it, but if we did something, guys, like where we did like a longer session like this, where it was like cameras on, it was really engaging, or it was like, back-to-back days or one a week or something for a month, same time every week, where it was like one day would be deeper diving on social media, the next day would be Google, the next day would be website. Would that be something you guys would be interested in?
go on, entertain Julian. Amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
cool,
Yeah,
definitely.
cool. Because we want to start getting, because what we found is with webinars and workshops, people actually get more out of it when it's engaging. That's why, Cam and I are trying to get you guys to jump in, because what happens, and I'm one of those people, if I'm just listening to something in the background, it's very easy to tune off. You get an email come through, a phone call comes through or something. You
Yeah,
actually get way more value out of things where you're almost forced to participate. When you're not forced to participate is when you kind of, it's almost impossible to stop doing as a human at least
yeah,
once in that hour, just to switch off, and then you've lost yourself. I do it
yeah,
watching a TV series I actually care about. So, um, yeah, even when I'm sitting there doing nothing. So, yeah, well, maybe we'll touch base on this for next year.
yeah, definitely. I'm keen.
Hopefully,
Let's make it happen. Do
yeah,
a live workshop. Do it every week on the same time or something for a couple of weeks, or yeah, we'll figure out what that looks like. But yeah, definitely keen.
yeah, brilliant. Guys, we'll get this. This has all been recorded, so if you want to go in and watch it, great. I'm going to try and pull Cam to be doing a few videos over the next week or so, where we actually just do a real quick summary of these kind of things. So those will end up. He hasn't agreed to this yet, but he will. Those will be up on our social group, Buildxact Building Block. If you haven't joined that, jump in and join that. The Buildxact Building Block. Even if you're not using Buildxact, it's a good resource for these kind of webinars. A lot of people don't see the emails that goes to junk, or you like me, 20,233 emails. You
Careful.
just miss them sometimes. So yeah, do that. But Cam, mate, honestly, mate, that was phenomenal. Really, what I thought people would really be keen to hear and listen to, and real take away tactical things, rather than like, the Google thing is more of a longer play, strategic kind of what we're doing, how we're getting all that information in. The first two are real tactical things we can implement really quickly. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate you coming on board.
Nice. Awesome, man. Too easy. And just remember, everyone grab the resources, contractorscale.com/buildxact. Everything's there. Swipe it, deploy it, steal it, do what you like with it, and make it happen.
Yep, awesome. Brilliant. Thanks, guys. Thanks for staying on for so long as well. Really appreciate it.
Cheers. See you guys.
Cheers, Cam. Bye.
Bye.